what do we do to get back on track? We had a good time, we functioned, we partied, but how do we get back on track? Hey y'all, welcome back to Everything Lux with Crystal. I am Crystal. I consider health to be the ultimate luxury, so if you are someone focused on leveling up your mental and physical wellness, then you have reached the right place. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit that bell so that you don't miss any of my videos. New videos coming every Tuesday. In today's video, we are going to talk about how to return after an off week. So we all have off weeks and off moments. And today I want to talk to you about how to get back on track after you've had an off day, off week, or even off month or off year. So let's get into it. So last week I had an off week. There was so much going on in my city that I just could not do it all. And I'm human. And I had to take a moment to accept that it's okay that I had an off week. So in today's video, we're going to talk about what an off week looks like for me personally and how I am working to reset and get back on track. So maybe an off week will make sense if I tell you what an on week looks like. So I am a personal trainer, an entrepreneur, and a caregiver. So my weeks are very, very busy. An on week for me looks like working out 4 to 5 days a week early in the morning, and a very effective workout at that, right? Getting plenty of rest so that I'm able to show up for myself, my clients, and my mom, and also eating properly. So that means maybe a little bit of meal prep or just some intentional grocery shopping so that I have healthier foods in the house so I don't have to worry about falling off too hard on my nutrition. And last week I did absolutely none of that. It was draft week here in Detroit. And what that looked like was tons of events. It looked like a lot of running around for me and clients. So as an entrepreneur, I am the CEO of W by Crystal White Athleisure. I am also a brand strategist and consultant. And so when I say clients, I have personal training clients, and I also have brand management and consulting clients. And I think it's the first time this event has ever been in Detroit. And so it was an amazing weather week. And I just really wanted to join in on the fun. I prioritized that over my usual healthy, centered habits. I stayed out late, I did some drinking, I did some hanging. I had the French fries a couple of times. I really, really enjoyed myself. And it's not to say that you have to fall off your routine to enjoy yourself, but it's to say that I chose to prioritize the functions and the fun over my habits last week. And I would be remiss to lie to myself or to you all about what my priorities were. They just weren't on the things that I'm normally focused on. So in the past, a week like that would have had me totally down on myself. It would have had me in a state of, oh my gosh, why did you do that to yourself? Why weren't you focused? You should have been doing this. You could have been doing that. All this really negative, counterproductive self-talk. That's where my mind would have been. In the past, that's been my go-to, but looking back, it wasn't helpful. It didn't exactly hold me accountable as much as it just made me feel bad about the decisions I made. So this week I decided to take a different approach to get back on track. I decided to look at it as an opportunity to reset my routine and evaluate my routine and see where maybe I need to make some changes in order to accommodate hanging out or accommodate having a drink or two so that I don't feel like I completely lost my whole week just because I decided to indulge once or twice. So I'm looking at it as a reset instead of a punishment. And I want to share with you guys what a reset is going to look like for me going forward. I was really transparent with you guys about the fact that I'm not always on. I am not always eating my salads. I'm not always drinking my protein. I'm not always taking all my vitamins the way I'm supposed to. I'm human. And so with me and my human experience, I can't speak for anybody else, but my human experience looks like ups and downs and rolling with the ebbs and flows of life. And that's just what it is. So my reset is kind of in two parts, right? I had to look at physically what I need to do differently going forward and mentally how I need to think differently going forward. So some physical challenges that I had last week were not feeling well. So I didn't have the energy I'm used to having. I just overall felt sluggish. And this was before I indulged in anything. So I won't even blame that on like eating or drinking or anything like that. I just really didn't feel my best. And so that impacted my performance as far as the gym went. I did still go, but I was not at my best. And so my performance was a lot less efficient than it normally is. Another event, and this is something that I think a lot of you all can relate to. I had a doctor's appointment, and when I got on the scale at the doctor, I did not like the number. And if you know anything about me, I am anti-scale, okay? I do not get on my scale at home. I stay away from the scale at the gym pretty much. And the only time I really get on the scale is when I go to the doctor. So when I got to the doctor and they weighed me, I'll be honest, it was like a punch to the gut. It really was. Not necessarily because I've been doing so much wrong, but because I have some other health issues that are working against my best habits. And I'll be honest, I felt defeated after that. And so it really impacted, I think, how I felt physically, but also mentally, and impacted my desire to work out, my desire to observe healthy habits, because part of me felt like I'm doing all of this, I'm being consistent in the gym, I'm eating right, I'm drinking my water, I'm getting my rest, and I'm still gaining weight. And I had to take a second and realize that it's not my lack that is causing the weight gain as much as I have to be patient with whatever my body is going through right now. But it did impact me and how focused I was on my goals last week. And of course, I already told y'all this, the events, the functions were the priority, not the gym. So I wanted to fully enjoy everything that was going on in the city. Like I said, the weather was good. There were people in town visiting, and I really just wanted to take an opportunity to get out and have fun. And I just wasn't really focused on the gym the way I normally am. Mentally, I was just elsewhere. I also wasn't focused on my goals, right? I really was focused on my goal for the week, which was having fun. But as far as my health and fitness goals, I just wasn't focused. I wasn't locked in on them like I normally am. And so that impacted my progress and performance as well. And lastly, because of all of these other things, I did not prepare myself. In this type of situation where you kind of have like a lot going on, preparing yourself is the one thing that possibly could keep you on track despite all these other things going on. So preparing yourself looks like maybe making time to meal prep if you're not able to do all the other things. Maybe it looks like laying out your gym clothes in advance so you don't have an excuse not to get dressed and get ready in the morning. Or it could look like just planning a little bit better so that you're able to fit your workouts and everything in along with all the other things that you want to do. So that's just harder for you to make those excuses. Now, it's a new week. I have already started these things I'm about to share, but these are things that you can use whenever you feel like you have gotten off your rocker. Like I said, if you came off of an off week, an off day, an off month, even an off year, right? I've had an off year. For my own personal experience with like depression and just like going through a lot, I didn't believe that it could take years to get back on track. But now that I've seen it, I know that that's totally possible. I know that life can sometimes knock you down so hard that you need more than a couple of days or a couple of weeks or even a couple of months to get back on track. You can wake up tomorrow and start these things. So number one for me is going to be meal prepping and planning. So when I meal plan, I like to look at what my schedule looks like for the week. Right? And with that, I try to plan meals that are going to be versatile or that are going to work with whatever it is I have going on. So with meal planning, that might look like if I have a busy week where I'm going to be driving around a lot or I'm not going to be home, it's going to look like maybe grabbing extra healthy snacks when I go to the grocery store so that I have things I can keep in the car that won't spoil, that I can still keep myself nourished and energized throughout the day. It also looks like if I know I have a couple of days where I'm going to be closer to home, where I don't have as much on my schedule, that I can maybe cook something that requires a little bit more prep in the moment to eat at home. I am not the eat the same meal every single day type of meal prepper. What I do instead, and I can break this down more in a different video, but I like to focus on preparing different foods so that I can create a meal whenever I'm ready. So maybe that looks like prepping a whole fillet of salmon so that I can make salads quickly or sandwiches quickly. Or it looks like making sure I roast a bunch of veggies so that I have them to put on my salads or make a veggie bowl, that type of thing. So I like to prep that way because I am not a fan of pulling the same thing out of the refrigerator and reheating it every day. It's just not my thing. So meal prepping and planning is the first way that I'm getting back on track this week. Along with that, I am planning my workouts. So as a trainer, obviously I plan workouts for my clients, but I also treat myself as a client and I like to plan out my workouts the week in advance. So that looks like organizing my splits, making notes of my weights, even sometimes notating which gym location I'll go to because there are gyms that have different equipment, just so that I'm overall prepared for what my week is going to look like and so that I'm able to hit everything I need to hit in my workouts for that week. Another way when you're getting back on track and you want to get more consistent or try to stay consistent in the gym, you can add scheduled classes at your gym to your schedule for that week. So maybe you add the yoga class or one of the bar classes, or if they have HIIT or Zumba. You add something like that to your schedule so there's a little bit more accountability tied into it, so that you see that on your schedule and you're like, okay, I need to get to the gym by 7:30 for my class, that type of thing. That's something you could definitely add into your routine to stay a little bit more consistent, especially when you're getting back on track after a time period where you felt like you were kind of off. Number 3, and this is important for me, if you follow me on Instagram, which you should be, you know, I am big on planning out my outfits for the gym. So I am a fashion girl, okay? I don't care if I'm going to the gym or going to dinner or going to the club, going to the airport, I don't care what it is, I am going to put on a fit. But my issue is, being a fashion girl, I take a lot of time to put my fits together. So something I started doing a couple of weeks ago that has been so effective is planning out my gym outfits. And I literally lay them out like a flat lay on my floor before I get in bed at night, so that when I get up, I have no excuse to waste any additional time looking for something to wear. I add my accessories, like my socks. I put everything out so that there is no reason that I'm not able to jump up, get dressed, and get on my way for the day. So planning out your gym outfits is a pro tip, especially if you are getting back on track, because if you have been there before, if this is not your first time kind of having an off moment trying to get back on, you know how easy it is to make excuses, and you know how easy it is to use anything as an opportunity to not go to the gym. So number 4 is about the inside, right? We've talked about the things that will impact our outward appearance, but this is more about the inner work. So some of the things I'm going to do to center myself going into this week is a nightly journaling routine where I just kind of decompress from the day, get all my thoughts out, and just leave them on the page. That is a great way to clear your mind so you have a more restful sleep. It's also a way to kind of tackle anything that may have been bothering you during that day, so that you're able to wake up a lot clearer the next day and not be inundated with anything from yesterday. So a daily journaling routine. Another thing is going to be daily Bible reading and devotion, which I do every day anyway, but just adding it to my routine as something to be intentional about instead of just doing it out of habit. Is something I'm going to do to make sure I am centered this week and a little more focused than I was last week as well. So the last thing I'm going to do in order to get back on track is time block my deep work for my business and just all the things that I have going on. So deep work is essentially time that you work with no distractions. So for me, that looks like putting my phone on Do Not Disturb. Sometimes I use the Opal app, which I can talk about in another video. Maybe I'll do a video on like productivity, or put my headphones on and I'll lock in for anywhere from 3 to 5 hours and just work straight through. It's something that after a week where I'm running around, I have to be on this side of town for this, I gotta be on that side of town for that, I wasn't making time to sit and get my things done the way I normally do. Now, I still showed up, but it wasn't at my optimal level. Deep work is a great way to get things done. You can even break your deep work down even more into 45-minute blocks and add a 15-minute break if you're somebody like me who's a little neurospicy and you need a chance to really just decompress between tasks, especially if they're larger tasks that you're completing. So deep work is definitely super effective. And it's something that I'm being very intentional about this week, so I'm able to be a lot more productive and therefore just feel better about how I'm spending my time each day. So that's my list of what I'm doing to get back on track. I'll run them down for you again. Number 1 is meal prepping and planning so that we are getting our nutrition right. Number 2 is workout planning so we have no excuse how we show up in the gym each day. Number 3 is planning our gym outfits ahead of time. And that is another way to make sure that we are cutting down the possibility of making an excuse to not show up for ourselves and our health. Number 4 is going to be a daily centering routine, and that can look however you need it to look. For me, that looks like nightly journaling and daily prayer and devotion. And number 5 is going to be time blocking for daily deep work so that I'm able to be a lot more productive and get my things done. Okay, so I want y'all to know that the best part of the human experience is being human. And that means that you are flawed. That means that you have on days, off weeks, whatever that looks like. It means that you look for ways to constantly improve yourself while also living your life as fully as you possibly can. One thing I will never apologize for is having an off day or an off week. It is absolutely normal, and I am a firm believer that sometimes these are opportunities to reassess and to reset, and I will always take them in stride. Another reason that I switched my approach from being more punitive or quick to punish myself when I have these off moments is because I think it is so important to give yourself grace. I have a lot going on in my life right now, probably the most dynamic time in my life, and I couldn't imagine if I was my own source of pain through everything I have going on. So one thing that I have been incredibly intentional about is being very graceful with myself while also holding myself accountable, right? I could have taken that off week and let it turn into an off month or an off year, but instead I took it as an opportunity to reassess and reset what I have going on so that I'm able to stay on track and continue showing up for myself despite what life might throw at me. So perspective is everything. I am so thankful and so blessed to be in the space that I am now, that I'm able to look at those moments a little differently and also continue giving myself space to just show up the way I need to show up. If that looks like working out 7 days this week, if it looks like working out 3 days this week, I'm a firm believer that as long as you are giving your 100%, whatever your 100% looks like that day, that it is all going to work out. And maybe I'm a little naive. Maybe I am a little delusional, but y'all already know how I feel. Delulu is the salulu sometimes. And so you have to be able to lean into the positive things. I love leaning into the butterflies and the flowers of it all, because I think that it truly helps to ground me in such a crazy world. That's my spiel. I hope this video was helpful, y'all. I really wanted to make sure I was, again, transparent and vulnerable with you all about not always being on, about not having all the answers, and about having times where I need to take a step back and figure out, okay, what do we do to get back on track? We had a good time, we functioned, we partied, but how do we get back on track? So I hope this video was helpful. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video with somebody who you think might find this information useful. Save it if it's useful to you so that you can come back and watch it anytime you need it. And make sure y'all follow me on Instagram and TikTok. We don't know what's going on with TikTok, child, but make sure you follow me over there because I definitely have shared some very deep things as of late. We'll unpack it in another video. Can't unpack it right now, but thank y'all so much for rocking with me. I will talk to y'all soon. Bye.